Judging time already? Thank you. I lost my mother once before. We were in the supermarket and I was begging her to give me a quarter so that I could get a Super Ball from the gumball machine, but she wanted me to help her pick out a cereal. I pointed to the Lucky Charms, of course, but she decided we should get Nutri-Grain. Gross. We also got a box of granola bars. You can have one in the car. Mommy, quarter, please. Oh, fine. It is hard to cope when you lose someone you love, especially if you never see them dead. Elizabeth struggles with this when her mother dies in the Challenger space shuttle explosion. Watch as she learns to cope and recounts the death of her mother in Defying Gravity by Jane Anderson. The machine with the Super Balls was broken, so instead I put my quarter in the machine with the creepy crawlies. I got a green scorpion, and I hated it. But then, when I turned around, my mommy was gone. I ran from register to register looking for my mother, but all I could hear was the Supermart music playing. I saw a box of Nutri-Grain moving down the checkout belt, but it was followed by a big bag of prunes and an old man. Then I saw Mommy hand her daughter a granola bar, and I knew that I would never have a granola bar again because I went to get a Super Ball from the gumball machine, but instead I got a green scorpion, which I hated, and I didn't even have the quarter that my mother gave me, and I would never, ever see her again. Mommy? Mommy, I thought you left me. Silly, why would I do that? Why would I leave you? And when we got in the car, she gave me a granola bar. That Christmas, I asked for a Cabbage Patch doll, but all the gifts that year were from the NASA gift shop. I got a plastic space shuttle. My mom was then going to read me about how the Grinch stole Christmas, but she kept getting phone calls. Oh, yeah, I'm having the time of my life. I go back next week. The family's coming over tomorrow. I'm thinking about making a roast. Oh, no. We have plenty of food. I keep telling everyone that if I eat any more food, they're going to have extra fuel to the rocket just to get me off the ground. Yeah, it's a madhouse over here. She was talking on the phone too much. I hated that shuttle. All right, bye now. Elizabeth, do you need a hug? I think at the moment, I hated her. Finally, she took me to bed, and she was gonna read me about the Grinch, but she got another phone call. Yeah, it's crazy. I'm having the time of my life. Good night. I got mad, so I tore a page in the book. It's the chance of a lifetime. When the reporters asked me what I thought about my mother going into space, I didn't want to answer, so I hid behind my grandmother. Then, my brother laughed at me, so I hit him on the arm. My grandmother gave us lifesavers to quiet us down. I wanted a red one, and she peeled back the wrapping until she found one, and she gave it to me. I put mine in my pocket for later. Finally, my mother came over and joined us, and she let me hold her hand, and I was so proud that I was one of the few people who was allowed to touch her hand. She showed the reporters some of the things she was taking up into space. She had a journal, and in the journal was a bookmark that I had made for her. It had Saturn and all of its stars, a space shuttle, and rings. And then I had even ironed it between two pieces of wax paper so that it would be protected from the gamma rays. Then she showed them something that her class had given her. And I was jealous. I wanted to give her something else. So I took out that lifesaver that was all fuzzy from the lining of my pocket. And I told myself I had to pick every single piece of lint off that lifesaver. Or my mother wouldn't come back. Finally, she knelt down next to me. I reached up and I touched the patches on her shoulder. She looked so beautiful. My grandmother kept saying, "Say goodbye, come on, say goodbye to your mother." all I could manage to do was hold out that lifesaver that was all sticky from the sweat of my hand. And she took it. And she put it in her pocket, and at that moment I knew that everything was going to be okay. When I watched my mother take off, I saw it go straight into the sky and disappear. But when my grandmother told me that my mother had gone to heaven, I thought that heaven was a part of outer space, and I thought that she would come back with all kinds of neat presents like a plastic harp or a pair of angel wings. But when she wasn't returning my calls, I got angry. And when my father told me that she had perished in the rocket, I didn't believe him. And when he asked why I didn't believe him, I said, because I never saw her dead. These are the reasons that I give myself for why my mother didn't come back. Number 1, I hit my brother on the arm. Number 2, I wouldn't talk to the reporters. And number 3, I didn't get all the lint off of that lifesaver.